Welcome to Come and See, your podcast for finding truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. With host and founder Richard Case and co-host and retreat leader Kathy Ricconi. Join us every weekday at this time to discuss news, spend time in the Word, and receive answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. And now your host, Richard Case.
Well, good morning, Kathy. Here we are talking about the covenant, and I'm going to bless you to make you a blessing. We've had some good discussion last time about this aspect of when things actually seem to be at peace, so to speak, at rest, as He's leading us into His promises, the covenant. He will give us these enjoyment of the fulfillment of the promise, and it's
right.
It's an exciting place because, if God says, "Here's what I'm going to do," and the to do is either something that needs to happen in your life, solving a problem, showing you where I want you to go. It's the joy. By the way, His joy is just walking with me into that. So we got to keep remembering His intimacy. That's why He keeps us in a place where it's just step by step.
Right.
It's not like, I'm going to give you the promise, good luck, I'll see you later. It's, no, I'm going to tell you the promise so you know which path to go on, but guess what?
Right.
Walk with me down this path of all these forks in the road. And God says,
because He desires to be with us.
Yeah, my
and
joy.
That's the intimacy.
My joy. Now, and think about again how simple this is. He said, here's a promise, and it's personal to you, which is beyond me. Like, how does that work, where every single person as a follower of Christ has the ability for God to say, I can deliver you a promise unique to you? That's amazing to me. But He says, I already know. I see the fulfillment of it. And we can, our view of it is, well, that's nice. Well, then just give it to me.
Right.
Well, He says, I could, but actually I would lose what really brings me joy, is you.
Right.
And I just love being with you, and I like the fellowship with you, and I like the conversations with you, and the dialogue with you, and walking with you step by step, and then enlightening you, and encouraging you, and thrilling you with things along the path that get you excited to be with me. And He said, remember, and He said, I'm the vine. My Father's the vine dresser. I direct traffic. You're the branch, and your role is do what? Abide. He said, stay connected, and out of that is what? Relationship. So can you be thrilled to be with me? I'm thrilled to be with you. Where in a troubled world, where things have to get resolved, things have to be dealt with, and I know that, and I know that sometimes it's a struggle because you're living in that world. But if you just enjoy and trust that I'm going to deliver to you the covenant, then you'll come with me, not even knowing how I'm going to do it yet, or even what I've fulfilled have said, but you're just going to say, well, I know the covenant's true, so I'm going to walk with you into it. And I actually enjoy being with you, and that's why He says, I want you to look at problems differently. And they're going to come up, and sometimes they're really sticky and they're really difficult. Okay, Father, well, this ought to be interesting. How are you going to handle this one? Why?
Right.
Well, because you're leading me to the covenant. I'm going to be blessed to be a blessing, for sure. All the details are yet to be determined by you, and wisdom and understanding and promise. So let me do that. I'm going to walk with you, and my intimacy, God says, my intimacy is with you and you with me. Enjoy that. And then He says, as you fulfill the promise, you get the promise fulfilled. So that when that person is promised healing, or that promise is you're going to have a child, or I'm going to resolve this business issue, or I'm going to resolve this relationship issue, when it's resolved, it truly excites you.
Right.
It's like, wow.
And you see God do what only God can do.
Yeah. And you experienced it, and you do rejoice, and you bear witness to it. Like, man, look at what God did here, and the fulfillment of that, and it thrills you to see that promise fulfilled, and it's a good thing. Now, he doesn't want you to stop there,
right?
And say, okay, great, I'll just stay here. He said, no, you got to go along the path. There's more stuff to fulfill. I do want you to rejoice, celebrate, worship, praise, take a break of worrying about anything. Just enjoy what I've given you. He said, now, don't wait for that next problem to come up. Is that I'm giving you a season, a piece of the path that while you don't have any big problems, you don't have any battles to go fight, I want you to fortify.
Right.
I want you to strengthen. I have something in you I want to strengthen. There's something in your family I want to strengthen. Or by the way, you and your spouse, I really need to strengthen your marriage right now.
Right.
And it's not about a problem. It's about something I need to teach you together to just go deeper so that you strengthen the process of unity and the process of supporting each other and loving each other. I'll tell you what I want you to do to build the next piece of it. And we talked about Asa last time, where he was at peace, rest, and God gave him rest all around. He said, no war. Okay, go build the cities. Go get strengthened. Go fortify, and get ready. Okay, so let's go to Nehemiah 2, 18 to 20. This is, we'll tell the context of this, but go ahead and read Nehemiah 2, 18 to 20.
Sure. And I told them of the hand of my God, which had been so good upon me, and also of the king's words that he had spoken to me. So they said, let us rise up and build. Then they set their hands to this good work. But then when Sanballat the Horonite, Tobiah the Ammonite official, and Geshem the Arab heard of it, they laughed at us and despised us and said, what is this thing you're doing? Will you rebel against the king? So I answered them and said to them, the God of heaven himself will prosper us. Therefore we his servants will arise and build. You have no heritage or right, or a memorial in Jerusalem.
Right. So the context again is he was selected by God, never had been to Israel, was born in Babylonia, born in captivity, part of the remnant, part of the group, offspring of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Life was great. He was actually living in luxury. God says, hey, I want you to lead and go back and rebuild the walls. The temple's already been built by Zerubbabel and Ezra, but I need you to rebuild the walls because nothing's happening there. And that time, think of, you couldn't have an economy without protection.
Right.
So that you could function knowing that they can't just come in and steal everything that you build. So, we got to do the wall, get the wall built, and be protected. Now we can rebuild the economy, which is what they did. So he said, I want you to rebuild the wall. Okay. So he goes there. What do you want me to do? I want you to go get to building. How? Get everybody occupied with something that I have the task for them to join me in the rebuilding of this and the building of this. And it's going to be good. And by the way, you're going to prosper because of it. So be active in the building process. While you're building, he says, you're going to have an enemy to do what? What did Sanballat and Tobiah, what were they trying to do?
They were coming against him, trying to discourage him, really.
Yeah, don't bother building this because we're going to come against you and you're going to fail.
Right.
Well, what did God say? Don't pay attention to them.
Right. Do what I told you to do.
I'm asking you to build and to not get thinking, well, what if? And what if they do this? And am I going to be able to fulfill it? And God says, yes. My assignment for you is to build it and get people active together in building it. Why? Fortification, strength. You're going to have the next phase of life actually come from this building that I'm doing right now. And these guys are threatening to come against you, but at the moment, don't even worry about them. What's my assignment for you, son? Build.
Right.
Later, it's like, okay, when they do come against you, which they do, I'll tell you what to do about it. But at the moment, don't you create your own issue. Just go build it. Just focus on the building of it.
Right.
Enjoy the building of it, and I'll build the city. Okay, then he goes to 1 Corinthians 3, 9 to 16, and Paul tells us how to do this. This is really cool. 1 Corinthians 3, 9 to 16.
For we are God's fellow workers. You are God's field. You are God's building. According to the grace of God which was given to me, as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builds on it. But let each one take heed how he builds on it. For no other foundation can anyone lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if anyone builds on this foundation with gold or silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work will become clear, for the day will declare it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test each one's work of what sort it is. If anyone's work which he has built on it endures, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved, so as through fire. Do you not know that you are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwells in you?
So if the assignment is, he's saying, I want to give you an analogy here, is you're active in building. Remember, we've set up the context here is God has said, this is my assignment for you at the moment. We're not worried about fighting off the enemy or coming having how to handle an attack of the enemy. I'm even not trying to let's say transform your inner soul at the moment. So there's nothing you're working on of help me learn forgiveness or overcoming fear or worry. Is at the moment I'm asking you to build something. Okay. He says it's really simple and it's really important. If you're going to build on what?
Build on Jesus.
Build on Christ.
The foundation, yeah.
The foundation. Okay, so let's take the analogy and understand what that means. Christ is the architect. Think of the vine dresser in an analogy. The vine dresser makes all the decision. I design what I prepared for you in advance. I'm the designer, I'm the architect, and I'm the master builder. Okay. I'm a worker in the process. So he says, it's kind of really simple. I'm going to ask you to build, and where am I going to ask you to build? As I so direct you. Who? The master builder. On what?
On Jesus.
On Jesus, on the foundation, on the plan, the architectural plan that I put together. And you just follow. I don't want you designing it. And you think you can, but you can't. I know you think there's another place I should build, and it's not there. It's on my foundation where I'm asking you to, because the house that you're gonna build on your own is wood, hay, stubble. What's going to happen? Completely fall apart and burn up, and worth less. By the way, there's not a reward there in heaven, which implies something. Is you mean what I do on earth determines my destiny? Yeah. Now, we don't know much about that. It talks about reward. It talks about crowns. It talks about things that are going to happen. It doesn't specify what it is, other than what you do on earth
does matter.
Does have an implication for the reward I'm going to get. Now, he said the good news is, if you're a believer and you even build, everything you build isn't on Christ at all.
Right.
And everything's wood, hay, stubble, and it's all burned up. Guess what? You still get to be with God in heaven.
You're still there, right?
And by definition, well, that's good news. That is good news, because eternity, it's going to be great.
Right.
Now, it'll be greater, and this is what you don't understand, other than it's true. If you're following me and building on my stuff now, it's going to be even greater in eternity.
Right.
And so my heart is, well, I think I want to do that. Eternity's. And again, I think about this stuff, is that eternity's a long time.
Right.
I think I want it to be the very, very best. And so, Father, I'll go where you, I'll let you be the architect. I'm going to build on your foundation. Okay, so I'm a worker. And have you built a house at all? Have you built something? at all? Where you built from?
Me personally?
Not you, but you've been involved with you and Dan.
Yes.
Okay, so you have an architect. He designs it. Piece of property. You have a contractor, general contractor. He would be called the master builder. So the guy that shows up, because you went there, and they're building it.
Right.
The guy that shows up, and I'm a carpenter. What did that carpenter do every day when he came? Goes to
He
who?
simply, followed the plan for what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
He didn't create the plan.
So the general contractor says to that carpenter, first of all, I want you to make sure you understand the blueprint.
Right.
We're building that. Do you understand that? Yes. Today, I want you to go build this wall.
Right.
Or this roof truss. Okay, what? Here's the detail of that. It's in the context of this plan. Here's the detail of it. Today, you build that particular thing. And what are you doing? You're building on the foundation that's already been set, the design that's already been set, and you just have a role to fulfill your role in the moment of the building process. He said, if you do that, you're going to get great reward for following my instruction for you today as you build this thing that we're going to be able to build. And one thing that I did, we built some houses, but I did notice that generally speaking, the guy that was working, 4 months ago, never got to see the finished product.
Right.
Yeah, I do framing. I framed. Go to the next house. I frame. I actually never get to see a finished product.
Right.
So what I did is I got everybody that worked on the house. When we had it finished, we're going to have a party, and we're going to celebrate. And I want you to see what you were part of.
What your work was a part
of. Even the framing, which by the way we can't even see anymore because it's covered up by drywall. You know that you did that, and that's why this house looks so beautiful it is. And I want you to appreciate that. Yeah, you didn't do the whole thing. You weren't responsible for the whole thing. You had a piece of it, but I'd like you to rejoice that our design was fulfilled because you fulfilled your part at the right time, at the right skill.
What a beautiful picture of heaven, beautiful picture of the church, beautiful picture of all of that. Yeah.
And that as you're building, remember we said we're going to strengthen you. We're going to give you an assignment. It is action. It is activity. It's something that you want me to do with my family, with my business, with my spouse, with something that you're trying to teach me to go deeper into. I'm building something. And he says, and this is important for me because I personally is like, okay, good. I will go. No, Rich, you're not the architect. Rich, you're not the general contractor. You're just going to show up. I'm going to tell you what to do. Build it on me. Build it on what I'm doing. I'll tell you. I'll show you. I will give you the privilege of seeing some fulfillment here. But by the way, it's not just you either. You're doing your part, and you've got other people doing their part, and they're all being brought together. I'm orchestrating it. You don't have to take care of it.
Right.
You just do your part faithfully.
Which isn't that freeing.
By the way, you actually talked about it earlier this week. Is that you said you're going to Ireland, and you're going to go see a demonstration of a sheepdog.
Right.
Okay. One thing you're going to see is does the sheepdog decide on his own what he's going to do?
No, not at all.
Interesting enough, and this is really clever. The sheepdogs take care of sheep. Interesting enough, per se, the sheepdog doesn't even care about the sheep. His assignment is the sheep, but he doesn't look at did they do what they were supposed to do. Have I decided since they didn't do it, I need to go do something different? Interesting enough, he just says, shepherd, what's my assignment?
What do you want me to do? Yeah.
And you'll see it. It'll be fun. This is what we got to see, is that when they came back, what we saw, this particular sheepdog would actually jump up to get eye level. And it's like, I did it. I fulfilled my assignment. I don't even know what happened, but I fulfilled my assignment.
But I did what you asked.
But now what do you want me to do? Now what do you want me to do? Now what do you want me to do? And my joy is from you, Shepherd, that knows that I fulfilled what you said, because I'm operating according to your plan, not mine.
Right.
And my joy is I get to be with you, you get to be with me, and I'm fulfilling the building piece of it by what you are instructing me, because I know that you know what you're doing, and I don't need to worry about questioning what you're doing. And so as we're building, remember, and think about a house, when you first look at it, they put up that first little wall. You look at it, it's like, are they sure they know what they're doing? Is this all going to work? How is that going to work? And the master builder, the general, says, I know what I'm doing. We're going to do this piece first, that piece next. Yeah, I know it doesn't make sense to you, but don't worry. It's all going to come together at the right moment, at the right time, and it'll be finished by what my project is, by my architect, what they designed. So that God says, be faithful. You're just the worker showing up at the job. I got the plan. I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'll give you an assignment today. And by the way, because I am going to show you the plan, it's not in a vacuum.
Right.
Is what we're headed. We know what we're building here, and I want you to see it. I do want you to get excited about that. You're part of something really significant. Okay, great. Let me help you build it, and build it on Christ, build it on the foundation. And building it on Christ is, don't you decide to build on your own foundation. Don't you decide to do something different. It's, okay, Father, what now? What now? What now? And let me fortify, strengthen, build on your direction, not on my own, which goes back to the sowing. What are you sowing? Spirit. So it's really amazing how it works. And he said it's really critical that I'm going to fortify you, particularly in these times of rest periods, is let's get to work. I got a few things to do, and you just follow my instruction. And by the way, we're building this at the moment. Don't go off and do something else that you decide, well, isn't that a good idea? Well, you're going to miss what I have for you right now, which is to strengthen and fortify you.
It's funny, as you talk about that, one of the things that is brought to mind to me is Sabbath.
Yeah.
And the gift of Sabbath.
Yeah.
And that really is in keeping with what you're describing here, of the rhythm and sometimes just the rhythm of God and how he works, and how Sabbath is a gift to us. That is a time to rest, to refresh, and honestly to fortify at his feet.
Right.
And we feed off of that. And that is a gift that he's given us in the same way, I think, as you talk about building in these seasons and fortifying in that. I think that's in keeping with Sabbath.
That's right. Yeah. And Sabbath, remember, is a period of resting, refreshment, worship, experiencing God at a different level.
And it's drawing on his strength.
Yeah.
It is a fortification.
Yeah. And so there's this, that's a whole aspect of things of do. When he says rest, by the way, he doesn't say walk away from me.
Right.
And go off and sit somewhere.
In fact, it's come to my feet.
It's actually
and have true rest.
Come stronger. It's just that we're gonna take a break in the stuff of your work, and so don't worry about that. We'll get back to that on Monday. Don't worry. The issues you got, don't worry. We'll get there. Let's take a break and just have some joy together.
Right.
Rest, relax, let it go. Let the mind go back to refreshment. Get ready for tomorrow. And enjoy the strengthening of just the joy of trust. And that is what? Yeah, it's going to be there next week. Trouble's going to be, yep, I know that. But you know what? I don't need to worry about that. I can relax with you and take my Sabbath and enjoy things and kind of take a break from the normal stuff I'm doing to relax a little bit and spend time with my spouse or spend time with my kids, and just enjoy the day.
Yeah.
And don't get so wrapped up as I got to get things fixed today. No, you need to rest. get refreshed. So yeah, it's a good reminder of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll pick this up again. We got some more to talk about with this aspect of building and fortification, but remember, it's he's the master builder. He's the architect. Go where he leads you. As Nehemiah, I'm going to give you an assignment. You be faithful to that. Don't worry about the enemy right now. I'm not going to let him come after you at the moment. I'm going to give you protection and get ready, fortified, strengthened for what I have next. And don't walk away from me and don't get lazy, but come back. So it's really important. And if you got questions, send it to AFJ questions at afjministry.com. What about? And you can get very specific. I got a situation. How does that work? Yeah. We're happy to talk about it and answer it, and we'd love to. And Kathy, we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a blessed afternoon.
Amen.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Come and See, your podcast for truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. Send us your questions and comments, and tune in tomorrow for more answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. Remember, God's will is best and none better. His truth brings peace in this world of chaos.